Present for CVM. See it happen.
So that.
The government has moved to address the issue of students underperforming at the primary school level and then transitioning with these developmental problems into the high school system, and says it has come upon an idea that it wants principals to implement come the start of the new school year. That will see the workload on these first form entry-level students being reduced so that they can focus on more of the core areas and build the strength necessary to survive and thrive at the secondary school level. We'll hear the ideas fleshed out today by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education and, of course, the Chairman of the government's Education Transformation Task Force, the Oversight Committee. Its lead story, the Wednesday edition here on CVM TV. Welcome to Lead Story here on CVM TV on this Wednesday. So the issue, the underperformance of students at the primary school level, and then these same students transitioning into the secondary school system, carrying the problems over with them, and of course causing themselves and their teachers at the secondary school level to not be able to fashion the kind of approach that will make them into trainable people coming out of the secondary school system. So, you know, people unkindly say it's a production line for Don's children, which is very, very harsh because it's the children who are victims in these circumstances. But the government is saying, look, we recognize that this is a deep-seated problem and we are trying to fix that problem, and we have happened upon suggests luck. We have designed a strategy that we believe can change this reality. There was a press conference called by the Education Transformation Oversight Committee, ETOC, earlier on this Wednesday, where the approach was shared with members of the media.
With just over a month left before school bells prepare to ring in a new academic year, classrooms aren't just reopening, they're being reimagined. The Education Ministry has announced some major changes as part of its plan to address learning challenges in the education system. Chief among them,
I'm happy that come this September, students who require academic assistance, as indicated by their Pathway 3 grouping, will do only 6 subjects in grade 7 instead of the multiple subjects some are currently undertaking.
It makes no sense to have a child go into high school not able to read, and you give them all these subjects that they have to do when they're sitting there unable to read.
And as the students improve,
then they will, over time, as we deal with the literacy, the numeracy problems, then you can expose them to all of the beautiful subjects that are there.
In the meantime, there have been mounting reports in recent years that a significant number of primary school students are transitioning to high school without meeting the expected academic standards. That too is expected to change.
The practice of moving students from one grade to the next, irrespective of academic development, will be stopped. Students who are not at the requisite level will be placed on a pathway that allows them to remediate the learning challenges they are experiencing.
Now, this means that if student X, who's in grade 1, isn't reading or writing up to the grade 1 level by the end of the school year, that student will not be allowed to advance to grade 2, but instead repeat grade 1, a move that Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon believes will help attain globally recognized reading and writing proficiency in schools. But she admits there may be mental repercussions.
And there will be instances where children may be asked to repeat a grade, and it's important that you work with those children because it can have a real impact on them, and parents have to also be vigilant. That's why the parenting is important. Look at your child. Understand if your child is struggling. Is there a change in their behavior?
The minister says dialogue has started with a number of schools and changes are already being made to the respective curricula. Amoy Harriet, CVM News.
Thank you, Amoy. First break here on Lead Story. Back with more after these.
These days, challenges are everywhere and things are constantly changing, but independent living remains the same. Rising above physical challenges, we can help you do it. For years, we have been Jamaica's trusted provider for solutions to improve patient care, safety, and general quality of life. No matter your age or your physical limitation, we are the caring store, waiting to serve you. It's time to experience independent living. Visit us today.
Millions of people are attacked by harmful mouth bacteria. The root cause of bad breath, gum problems, cavities, plaque, and tartar. That's why Colgate combined the best science and technology in Colgate Total. Unlike others, its superior formula fights bacteria and creates a powerful protective barrier for up to 24 hours to prevent them from coming back. Take control of your oral health with Colgate Total.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Odyssey with Yendi, brought to you by Grace, Singer, and IslandNet Services.
Welcome back to Lead Story here on CVM TV. It's a Wednesday and we're talking education. Always a good time to talk about education, the future of the nation, and how the current generation is being invested in to translate into the worker, the member of society for the future. So now this very important issue of students who are not performing at their grade level, and the system just acting like a well-oiled conveyor belt, just transitioning them from stage to stage, transitioning them from stage to stage. They go through the system and are unable to represent themselves well, are unable to really join a labor force, are unable to take on the training necessary to equip themselves with skills to be meaningful contributors to the job and skills market. It is a problem. The government says it has carefully considered the issue and now it has a solution. It has a fix. Forget the devil being in the details. The magic is in the details. And I've invited the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Kassan Troop, and the Chairman of the Education Transformation Oversight Committee, ETOC, Dr. Adrian Stokes, to talk about those details and where the magic is. Dr. Stokes, good evening. Dr. Troop, good evening.
Hi. Good evening, and good evening to your listeners.
Great. Dr. Stokes, let me start with you. So here we are now at this point where we say the days of passing the student through the system on this conveyor belt automatically, autopilot, those days are over. What is it in detail that we are posturing to do where the issue of underperformance is concerned?
A number of things. George. First, I want to just congratulate the kids who recently sat the PEP exam. I want to congratulate the ministry, the teachers, and all involved, parents as well. When you look at the recent PEP data, we're seeing a marked improvement in the quality of students who will enter our secondary schools in September. Very encouragingly, 56% of the grade 6 cohort are now proficient in mathematics compared to only 27% when these children were in grade 4. Significant improvement, significant positive, and I want to highlight that and really to indicate that the results are coming. We are not where we need to be, where the country wants to be, but progress is happening. As it relates to the changes that are being made, we are strengthening a number of different pillars from the governance level as it relates to the boards, the school boards. That's a very, very important leg of the transformation, ensuring that we have quality boards, ensuring that we have a strong governance framework so that accountability is important. It's very, very hard to get great results, consistent results, without a quality governance arrangement. So that's something that's been done. As it relates to training, retraining, giving teachers the necessary tools, supporting them in terms of coaches for the various or the key subject areas, that is something that is also happening. So what we're seeing is a holistic approach. We're seeing the building blocks being put in place, and ultimately we are going to see an improvement in the standards. And this is happening at the pre-primary as well as primary level, and also a lot of work is going into our high schools. So, this will ensure sustainability.
Yeah. In the UK context, I can imagine them, it's a phrase that emerged under the Tory government led by Boris Johnson in the 2019-2018 period, levelling up. So if we're levelling up education, where we are giving students a better chance to perform at the grade level, when we say that a student won't automatically be passed through the system, if the student is retained at a grade level, what special thing will they be exposed to in the year of retention that is expected to make them grade level worthy, so to speak?
The key thing is the individual learning plans. In other words, to ensure that a teacher or the school has an assessment that is specific to that student. And this ensures that the solution is not generic, but is specific and will deal with a specific challenge or challenges that the student is experiencing. And I believe that is the appropriate approach that is being taken.
Not to cut you, Dr. Stowe, let me just clarify before you go further with the explanation. Are you suggesting that it is a bespoke solution for each child that has difficulties rather than a broad approach that the child should effectively be able to function in? Clarify that for me.
Absolutely, the former. The students who are experiencing challenges will go through an assessment process that will allow the school, the ministry to uncover the needs of that child and therefore be placed in a position to tailor, and as you use the term, bespoke, right? To have a tailored solution to help that student improve their academic circumstances. So that approach ensures that a broad brush isn't being used, and the student is given, I would say, the greatest opportunity to learn and to develop, because what they will be exposed to will be tailored for them.
All right, hold it right there. I have to take the break. After the break, I'll introduce Dr. Cassan Troop to the discussion. This is Lead Story Wednesday on CVM TV. We're talking about education and leveling up.
Australia is paving the way to becoming a republic or future or choice. The time by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs is
6:45.
Save when you charge your electric vehicle with JPS. It's even more affordable than gas. Our Charge and Go network offers the fastest electric vehicle chargers, so you can power up in as little as 30 minutes. With over 39 charging points island-wide, you'll always find a convenient place to shop, eat, work, or relax while you recharge. The Charge Lab app and Charge and Go RFID card make it easy to pay and track your charge right from your phone. Start charge. Learn more at jps.com/charge and go.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
From politics to global events, from social issues to breaking news, Lead Story Prime dives deeper, cuts through the noise, and uncovers the stories that shape your world. Join us every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for Lead Story Prime with me, George Davis, for an hour of incisive analysis, expert interviews, and unparalleled coverage of the issues you care about. Lead Story Prime, your front row seat to the most compelling discussions. Lead Story Prime, where the truth comes first. Only on CVM TV.
Welcome back to Lead Story on this Wednesday on CVM TV. Dr. Adrian Stokes is the chairman of the government's Education Transformation Oversight Committee, ETOC, and Dr. Catherine Troop is permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education. Good evening again, Dr. Troop.
Good evening, George. I'm here.
Great. All right. So it would be unfair to say it's confusing, but I just wanted to lay it out for me because just thinking about it, the news headlines from the ETOC presser earlier today have given me one, that students at grade 7 who are lagging behind the rest of the grade 7 cohort going into a high school picked at random, rather than given the workload of 10 subjects, which everybody else is doing, they'll be restricted to 6. So I wanted to know, okay, will it be the same 6 across high schools? Will it be a specific 6 based on the standard of the struggling students in a particular high school? The time that is spent doing those 10 subjects by the other students, is it that the 6 for these special students will be spread over that same time? And what happens to the instruction? Who will be responsible for the instruction? The teachers that are teaching the same, those doing the 10, are they the ones focusing on the 6 where there are special teachers? So I just wanted to explain strand by strand how this will all work for September.
Okay, so thank you, George. And all our teachers are specialists in their own right at the high school level. And so what we do, we pull on them, we retool them. And these are subjects that they are already teaching. But of course, the students are challenged because they are coming with lower performance or less than ready as other students that they would be anticipating at the high school level. So we are predominantly focusing on 56 high school, as Chair said earlier. We have our National School Learning Intervention Plan. We have 245 schools that we are hand-holding this year, George. In fact, we started in this year that we are closing out, and we are continuing in the new academic year. 56 of those are high schools. And these are the schools that came through the National Education Inspectorate Report, which is our accountability body that audit our schools, inspect our schools, and then inform us as what needs to be done in these schools. So these schools came up as underperforming. Now we have to be working with them in an intentional way. Part of doing that is to look at their intake. And predominantly when we look at their intake, they're getting students on pathway 3 and pathway 2. And these are the students who are genuinely or predominantly weaker than the other students, and so will need some additional support. In giving them that support, we have to reduce the workload. It makes no sense that they are given all the subject areas as students in pathway 1 who are competent, who have shown that they have met the standards for high school and have even exceeded the standards when you get them at highly proficient. So we will reduce that and focus a lot more on math and language, right? So those are the two core areas that we will be doing more of. So now we are saying no less than 5 hours of teaching in these core areas. We have also supported that with their IT. We cannot leave the IT behind, George. We are living in a technological world and it's moving very fast. They will be doing their PE because physical education is important. And they will slash that with their music. So they will do semesterized introduction to the arts, right? We will make sure that they are doing their science, integrated science predominantly, because again, we cannot leave those analytical skills behind. So it's just reducing the subject areas, but making sure the core skills and the core areas of need, that those are not compromised in any way. And of course, once they master that, and that is what we call a pathway 3, students can move along pathway. We realize that if students are given the time to maximize in the areas of weakness, that they will make massive leaps. And once they do that, they can rejoin their peers at the pathway 2 or the pathway 1. So no child is fixed on a pathway right up to grade 9. We carry them up to grade 9 on pathway 1, 2, and 3, and we are allowing them to move across pathway, because you may be on a pathway for a particular subject, which means that you will need to be pulled out for extra special intervention, but you may be strong on something else. So that is why we have flexibility across the pathway. But for these students in the 56 high schools, we are hand-holding them, we are reducing their timetable, we are retooling the teachers, and we are resourcing for learning differently. No longer will they get the regular textbooks as other schools on pathway 1. They will get specific resources to treat with the problems that we have identified at the PEP exams.
All right, so thank you for that. So help me with this now. In terms of the success markers for these students in these 56 schools that need this direct and different kind of intervention, what will the success markers be? Will it be a number delivered by a formula calculated by the authorities, or will it be benchmarked against the performance of the other students in those subject areas?
No, it's as the chairman said earlier, we have to customize. And then when we do the learning plan for these students, we set targets for them, because we cannot anticipate that they will be at pathway 1 in one term. Some theorists tell us that if you treat with literacy issues consistently for 6 weeks intentionally, then the students will move to their grade level. Well, others are saying they may still need more work. So we use that kind of technical guidance to determine the extent of the work, which is why we say no less than 5 hours weekly to maximize the content and the contact time. But we are looking at the individual plan. The children may not move at the same pace, but each child's plan will dictate what needs to happen at each level. Of course, at the end of the day, we have the milestones at the age level and grade level that we know that a student ought to achieve. But we will look at where that child is starting, and then we will set incremental targets to move to that milestone as per developmental age.
Hear you on that. So is it then that you would have considered this approach to be successful if in, I'll call a school year, a cycle. So if in 2 or 3 school cycles then, there are a different 56 schools needing this kind of assistance, only 50% of no 56 being in the new 56. Is that how you'll measure success?
Well, definitely the ultimate measure of success for these 56 schools is when NEI goes back. That's the inspectorate. They go back to these schools in 2027. And they will be, because that's the external arm of our ministry, and they go in and they assess and we rely on them. So that's the ultimate judge of this implementation plan. What will happen with those schools, those learners over the next couple of years, as assessed by the National Education Inspectorate. They will determine the quality of the success.
Chairman Stokes, there's a huge psychological element to this, as the minister spoke in the clip we played before the discussion started, where you don't want students to feel as if, well, I'm a part of the dunce group in this grade 7, and you know, them feeling that way, the other students who are not part of that group feeling like those of their peers are in that role. And I've been in a high school situation where it seems as if after you pass the first 3 classes in a grade group of 10 classes, the people lower down, it's almost as if a whole that they accept that they're in. Yes, I'm not as clever as the other guys, so I'm not going to amount to much. And this is an inhibitor to the display of true performance and true potential. How does the government intend to manage this very important aspect, Mr. Chairman?
No, great questions. You know, we have good leaders at our schools, and I think each situation will be different. And I am confident that they will find the right approach for the appropriate issue or issues that they're dealing with. You know, our principals have been spoken with. A lot of work is going to take place over the remaining months before the school reopens. And this is one of the issues I'm sure PS Troop and team will be working on. But, you know, as I said, you know, these principals that we have are, you know, for the most part, very experienced. And they have seen these circumstances before. And I'm pretty confident that, you know, PS Troop and the senior leadership team will come up with the necessary management strategies to ensure that our kids are not being ostracized in any way, shape, or form.
And George, may I add?
Yes, you may.
Right. So as Chairman said, we are trying to do a number of things at the same time. So the retention of the students is really a last resort, right? We are working with the governance structure, we are working with the leadership training, we are working with the curriculum, and we are working with the assessment. Normally we assess a little later. For clinical intervention, we are now assessing earlier. We are screening students from as early as age 4. We rescreen at age 5. We do the grade 1 individual learning profile at grade 1, and we have